Okay, real talk. I have been buying oat milk for 2 years. Feeling very smug about it. It's plant-based, it's frothy, it's what the cafe uses, and it feels healthy. And then I started actually reading the ingredients label, and I want to talk about what I found. Because nobody's talking about this honestly. Not all milk is bad. Not all plant milk is good. And the marketing around this stuff is a lot. I'm Slava, a nurse practitioner, and a woman in my 50s who cares a lot about what I'm putting in my body and recommending to my patients. Today, I want to walk you through the milk conversation in a way nobody actually does. The plant-based options, what's in them, what's not in them, and what the label isn't telling you. The dairy alternatives like goat milk and lactose-free, the A1 versus A2 conversation that changed how I think about cow's milk entirely. And stay with me for this one, the research on which milks are actually linked to inflammation in the body. Because that's part the most people are getting completely wrong. Here's what I want to say first. The reason this is confusing is not because you haven't done your research. It's because the food industry is extraordinarily good at making things look like something they're not. Plant-based sounds clean, natural, and simple. But when you look at the most commercial oat, almond, or soy milk on a grocery shelf, you are not drinking ground oats and water. You are drinking a highly processed liquid that has been engineered to look like milk and feel like milk. And to do that, to make watery oat extract look creamy and white and stable on a shelf for weeks, it needs help. That help has a name. Several actually. Gums, emulsifiers, seed oils, fortified vitamins that your body may or may not absorb the same way it would from the whole foods. And I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to make sure you actually know what you're choosing. Later in the video, I'm going to tell you which options I personally use and why. So stay with me. Here's the part that nobody really talks about. It's not just about what's in the plant milk. It's about what those ingredients do to your body. Take the gums. Guar gum, xanthan gum, gallon gum, locust bean gum. And you'll find at least one of these in almost every commercial plant-based milk. They're there to thicken the liquid, to stop it from separating, to make it look like something it isn't. And for most people, in small amounts, they're probably fine. But research has shown these gums can cause gas, bloating, and GI distress, and in some cases promote gut inflammation. Guar gum can cause mild digestive issues such as gas and bloating, especially when consumed in high amounts. Xanthan gum has shown laxative effects in adults and is contraindicated for children. So if you notice the side effects after drinking certain plant milk, check out the package ingredients. Then there is carrageenan, a seaweed-derived thickener that's been more seriously studied and linked in some research to intestinal inflammation, alterations to the gut microbiome, and increased intestinal permeability, often known as a leaky gut. And many brands use seed oils, sunflower, canola, to add creaminess. These are high in omega-6 fatty acids, which in excess are pro-inflammatory. One of my patients approached me, but Slava, the label says it's fortified with calcium and vitamins. Yes. And the synthetic fortification and bioavailable nutrients from the whole foods are not the same thing, and your body knows the difference. Okay, let's go through them one by one. And I'm going to be honest about what the research actually says, not what the marketing says. Oat milk is the one I see everywhere right now, and the one I personally had to rethink. The good. It's relatively creamy, it's not free, it froths well, and oats themselves have real fiber. The reality check. Most commercial oat milk is made from a very small amount of oats and a lot of water, typically only 10 to 15% of oats. The rest is engineered texture. And here's one that surprised me. Oat milk has high glycemic index, higher than the cow's milk. If you're managing blood sugar, and many of us are, or our parents are, that matters as oat milk has a glycemic index of 69, comparing with the dairy milk, which is in the low 30s. My mistake. I bought the barista version for months before realizing it had added rapeseed oil for extra creaminess. Read the label. The unsweetened, short ingredient list version is a completely different product. So that's what you're looking for. Unsweetened, short ingredient list. Ideally, oats, water, and salt. Avoid versions with added oils, carrageenan, or sugar. If the first three ingredients aren't recognizable words, put it back. Almond milk is the one people reach for when they want something light and low calorie. And it is low calorie. That part is true. It is also naturally low in sugar and contains some vitamin E. But here's the honest part. Commercial almond milk is mostly water. We're talking about roughly 2% of almonds in most brands. You are not drinking the nutritional equivalent of a handful of almonds. You are drinking almond-flavored water with thickeners. Protein? Almost none. About 1 gram per cup compared to 8 grams in cow's milk. Calcium? Only it was added. Remove the fortification and there is very little left. It's also one of the more allergenic plant milks. And almonds are one of the thirstiest crops on earth if sustainability is a part why you switched. Almonds are the worst option environmentally. That said, if you like it and you're not actively harming yourself, just know what it is. A light, low-protein beverage, not a nutritional powerhouse. What to look for? Unsweetened, minimal ingredients. Some brands now make higher almond content versions, worth seeking out if you prefer the flavor. And now, soy milk, the one with the most controversy and honestly the most complicated story. First, the good. Soy is the only plant-based milk that comes close to cow's milk in the protein content, about 7 to 8 grams per cup. It has a decent fat profile. It's the most nutritionally complete of the plant options. And now controversial. Soy contains phytoestrogens called isoflavones. And for years, people have been worrying that consuming soy raises estrogen levels. Here's what the current research actually says. A 2025 systemic review in Advances in Nutrition journal, looking at randomized controlled trials, found that soy isoflavones had no statistically significant effect on any measure in estrogenicity in postmenopausal women. And interestingly, the same isoflavones actually help reduce menopausal symptoms like hot flashes. But having said that, it's worth noting that most soy in the US is genetically modified and heavily pesticide treated. If you drink soy milk regularly, organic matters a lot. And the inflammation question, which is one I hear most. Soy is classified as one of the top food allergens. For people with soy sensitivity, it absolutely can drive inflammation. For people without sensitivity, the research does not show it is broadly inflammatory. How can you tell whether you're sensitive or not? Pay attention to your gut. Individual response varies enormously, but if you feel worse after drinking it, trust your body more than a study. So, what to look for? Organic, non-GMO soy milk, unsweetened. If you have thyroid issues, it's worth talking to your doctor, so it can interfere with thyroid hormone absorption when consumed in large amounts. Now let's talk about animal milk. This one gets overlooked in the conversations a lot, and I think that's a mistake. Lactose-free milk is regular cow's milk with the enzyme lactase added. That's it. It breaks down the lactose so your digestive system doesn't have to. So you get all protein, calcium, and other natural nutrients of real dairy without the digestive drama. If someone tells me they switched to plant milk because dairy upset their stomach, my first question is, have you tried lactose-free? Because many people who think they're reacting to dairy in general are actually only reacting to the lactose. Remove the lactose and the problem disappears. And now these two are the ones that genuinely surprised me when I went down the research path. Most commercial cow's milk in the US contains a protein called A1 beta-casein. After a few transformations during digestion, it has been linked to gut inflammation, slow intestinal transit, disrupted gut microbiome, and worsened symptoms in people with IBS. A2 milk comes from cows of a certain breed, like Jersey cows, that naturally produce only A2 beta-casein, which promotes microbial diversity and better gut integrity. Here is a practical point. Some people who believe they're lactose intolerant may actually be reacting to A1 protein, not lactose at all. This is a distinction that almost nobody at regular medical appointment is pointing out. A2 milk is more expensive and harder to find. But if someone has been avoiding all dairy because of digestive symptoms, it might be worth trying A2 before assuming dairy itself is the problem. So, the inflammation scorecard. Most inflammatory for sensitive individuals, A1 conventional cow's milk and commercial plant milk with carrageenan, seed oils, or guar gum. Least inflammatory, A2 and goat milk, organic soy for non-sensitive individuals, and clean labeled oat milks without any additives. Goat milk. This milk does not get nearly enough of attention. Here's why I find it interesting. Goat milk naturally contains predominantly A2 beta-casein protein, which makes it genuinely easier on the gut for many people. It has less lactose than cow's milk, about 12% less per cup. And it contains capric and caprylic acids, which have naturally anti-inflammatory properties. A 2024 study in the European Journal of Nutrition found that people who switched from cow's milk to goat milk reported improved digestion and fewer skin issues within 30 days. It's not lactose-free. If you have severe lactose intolerance, it won't fully solve the problem. But for people with mild dairy sensitivity who assumed all dairy was enemy, goat milk is worth trying. The taste is different, slightly earthier. It does take getting used to. But I've had patients who dismissed it and then came back and said they'd never go back to cow's milk. If this is the kind of conversation that you're interested in, the real talk behind the health and marketing guidelines, from someone who is a clinician and also just a woman trying to figure out this stuff out, please subscribe. New video here every week. Hit the like button and send it to a friend who is standing in the dairy aisle confused, because that's all of us. I promised I'd tell you what I personally use, but first I want to say something. The goal here is not perfection. The goal is information, because the food industry spends billions of dollars making sure you feel virtuous about your choices before you've had a chance to read what you're actually buying. And that's not your fault. It's just a game. Here's what I do. For cooking and coffee, I use A2 cow's milk when I can find it and organic lactose-free when I can't. For plant-based, if I want oat milk, I'll look for 2 or 3 ingredients maximum: oats, water, salt. If the label has 8 ingredients, I put it back. I stopped buying the brands that use carrageenan or seed oils. And honestly, once I started making that a habit, I realized how few commercial plant milks actually pass the test. The honest truth about all milks: there is no perfect option. There is the option that works for your body, fits your values, and doesn't have a paragraph of additives you cannot pronounce. Now you know how to find yours. Next week, I want to talk about seed oils, because once you start reading labels on milk, you start noticing them everywhere else too. And there is a real conversation to be had about which ones are worth worrying about and which ones are mostly noise. I'll bring the research. See you then.